back gate's open, so I think they've launched that big cat that was on the marine railway. So the stop plate's cordoned off. So there's the big cat. Looks like it's turning around. Would have thought it could reverse. So, empty spot. Off to do some shopping. I imagine when we get back we'll be coming back in the usual way. So I've got standard copper water pipe, cunning plan for draining under the water tanks. We'll see if it works. And I need to get some hoses that fit with the pump. Fortunately, the opening on the pump is the same size as the copper tube. Now, something we noticed at the weekend was deck's not tipping, but solenoid's tripping. I have an idea. In this bag's the tyre inflation compressor, but just beside it is a relay. You can see it down there. Right, let's see if that's the problem. Aha! I was right. So the relay is on the main power feed to the hydraulic pump. Fixed. Wish everything was that easy. Well, cradle's back up. Another monohull coming in. Well, we had some quite heavy rain earlier in the week, so it's looking like we might have fixed the leak, or leaks. So we'll do the same on the other side, where there's basically just a couple of drips. Well, I think there, probably here, and fairly obviously here. Alright, so we've removed the sealant adhesive from around the edge. It's still there to hold the window in. Okay, masking's on. It's fingers crossed now. We'll see what happens. So we need to get the masking off really quickly, which is a damn messy job. Well, the theory is either the clear hose, or better yet, the copper tube, can go underneath that outboard stringer. There is a gap there, down hard against the frame, which would just miss the rounded corner of the water tank, and down into the bilge, and then it can be pumped out or used as a suction tube from the top. So we can certainly get one in there. Should be able to get one in the forward compartment, although the gap's a bit narrower, and the stern one should be even easier, as there is a bit of a gap anyway for the water fill hose. As much as I'd like to use the copper one, I think bending is going to be too difficult. Have to flatten in at least one place. Runs a risk of the tank rubbing on it. So the hose may be the better option. It's still a thought, currently in the thinking stage. I think we can call it home time. It's 5:30. Well, Matthew came up to help shift the lounge suite and he's left with another chair for his house. And just some cardboard to get rid of. Off to the recycling. Well, we still have no water. I'm going to call that promising. It's a bit harder to tell on this side. We might have to wait till it's actually raining. Well, there's the rudder stock. Let's see if we can drop it. So if we undo the bolt, we have a key, and then hopefully we can just drop it down. We'll see. Might have to dig a hole underneath the boat though. So in here is one of the stern diesel tanks and a bit of extra storage. And of course I forgot that there's a nut on top holding effectively a big washer on. Hopefully we can ease it off underneath the bit of deck here. Well, that's a no, but it's very, very close. I think just a little bit of a trim of the wood above and we'll be right. Success! Alright, well hopefully it will drop down. The trouble is I'm not sure about the key. Well, it has dropped down. Can't see at the moment, but here's the other end of the quadrant with the rudder tie bar. It's possible we're going to have to make a circular hole through the drainway to lift the quadrant high enough to get it off. We'll see. Well, quadrant has moved up, but it's touching the waterway. I think it's going to be a big hole through the waterway and then epoxy it back in again. Right, we've struck gold because that is the rudder stock. Still not high enough. We should be able to see the key is on the forward end of the rudder shaft. Yes, would be a very sensible place to have it. Well, the only option I can see is make a bigger hole. Oh, nothing like a bigger hole, eh? Okay, I'm responsible for this. I put that in. However, I'm not responsible for this opening here. We are hitting the top of it. So, doesn't need much, but it needs some. Right, it's off the stock. You have to get the key out before we can drop it down, and I think I want a jack under it to do that. Not a common sight to see a boat on the move on a Saturday. Well, rather than the jack, I've actually got a rope going under the rudder up to the winch. Right, well, we have the key and thus the quadrant out of the way. Key's in the bottom of the locker, quadrant's on top of the fuel tank. So there's a rope under the rudder here. You can gently ease it down and hope it gradually appears out the bottom. Well, the rudder bearings certainly aren't loose. It's gradually coming down. Oop. Now we're going to have to dig a hole, but I thought of that and I did bring a shovel with me. It's not easy digging, there's a fair few rocks down there. Hopefully we've got enough. Well, that would be a no. We haven't even got to the keyway yet, so I think we'll be back tomorrow with the crowbar. Damn difficult digging with all these stones and rocks. Afternoon tea time, Grandad. These are the stringers or the joists on top of the tanks and under the floor and the galley or the port hull. Can't get 3 metre long timber, so I'm just going to sand the 2 good ones, and we'll just have to make a new one on the far side that's broken. We need some clamps. It's getting dark, but I have epoxied all the stringers that I sanded before. These are the stringers or joists going on top of the port tanks on the galley. So I've sanded and epoxied one surface and scarfed one together. Right, one crowbar, a few more clamps, so we let it down to the bottom of the hole and still not deep enough. Fortunately we could put the crowbar under it and with a wiggle and pressure from below move it back up. Damn long rudder shaft. This has proven to be a pain. We're going to have to make the hole wider and deeper. I'll get Grandad sanding the edges of these and the glue line and edges on this one, so we can put the next coat of epoxy on 3 sides later. Well, we finally got the keyway exposed. Getting sick of this, it's taken all morning and into the afternoon. Oh, finally.
Yes.
Must be time for lunch, Grandad.
Probably.
Well, we've had lunch. Let's see if we can get this on the truck. Well, it's much heavier than it looks. Alright, this is plan 3, I think, for the drains under the water tanks. So a fairly stiff hose that won't collapse under suction, and smallish diameter so we don't have a lot of volume that will then wash back down once pumping stops. We'll put it onto standard hose fittings, put in a joiner and have a standard hose fitting on the suction pump. Well, there's the plan. It's held in place with tape. We'll use 291 to bond it in. The connector lives here, easily accessible when you lift the floor panel up. Right, same here, which is the middle compartment. And the same here, which is the stern one. We'll take the tape off once it sets up. So the tank's had an alcohol clean. That says front. That says front. Glue lines agree. Connections seem to be in the right place. Now we've just got to glue it. So it's going to be epoxy thickened with microfibers. Right, lid's on. We have put a second coat on all the exposed timber down here. Now these are all epoxied apart from the last one that we had to redo the scarf. Most of these are kick panels, mostly epoxy. One needs a sand and then epoxy. And now tone time, Grandad.
Thank you.